Last Dance has ended. Overall, what was your thoughts from it? What did you take away from it? And it's a lot of things coming out this week, especially that audio. So what do you think about The Last Dance as a whole?
Man, I thought it was great, man. To me, it gave you a different perspective of Jordan that if you didn't live in Chicago, maybe that you didn't really see. It gave you a background of him. It gave you some perspective on the teammates. I like what they did with Pippen. I like what they did with Kerr. I mean, we did a reaction video from everyone, and that was really the first time of me doing something like that. But it was so much content in each episode. I was watching it. My wife was watching it. My daughter, she's 8. She don't know who anybody is, and she was watching it. I mean, it was so great to see how everything happened. Now, you come to this week, and now everybody's like, "Oh, I didn't say that," and why are you saying it like that? And a lot of stuff was edited, which that's going to kind of happen. But to me, this is the best sports documentary that I've seen. And I think it really dived deep into a team that either you loved them or you hated them, but you had to respect them because they had somebody dope at every single position, and except I guess you can say except center. Exactly. It really didn't matter. I mean, you had everybody else at all the other spots, so it was great. I didn't have anything negative to say about it.
All right, what you think?
I say the same. I diehard Bulls fan since '83, when I started playing ball. I actually started playing ball like in '81. But anyway, diehard Bulls fan. Jordan came along. At that time, I was still a Lakers fan because all my buddies called me Magic on the court. So Magic for the Lakers, I was a Lakers fan for many years until Jordan came along and changed the dynamics of Chicago. With that being said, Scottie Pippen is my all-time favorite player. Jordan is the best. He's number one at what he did, but Pippen is my favorite player, and then Jordan. With that being said, Scottie had some things that happened with him that is showed in that docu-series that he, probably wouldn't want it to come to light, but it did, and it's part of his legacy.
Right.
But what kills me is how people harp on that. Scottie was so much more than that migraine headache and that refusing to come in the game. And that refusing to come in the game with that 1.7 seconds left against the Knicks, that was horrible. That was bad. Worst thing he could ever did. Worst thing on his career. But his career isn't built around just that. That guy did so much more for the Bulls team, for those 6 championships, and for basketball. He changed the game by being that type of player that he was. So I don't understand how the only thing they talk about Scottie is with those where the most you hear about is because of him refusing to come in the game, which is true, and he deserved to get flack from it, but the guy was so much more than that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that people forget is he was one of the top 50 players. And people forget that. Like, Scottie was on the dream team. Scottie was a part of the dream team. It wasn't like he was just there just because he was Robin to Batman. He was there because he's a top 50 player. And then I like how they talked about when Jordan was gone, how Scottie was the leader of the team, how people felt like they weren't yelled at anymore. And then kind of trying to change in topics a little bit, everybody was ragging on Jordan, but when you was winning championships, when you was getting ring after ring after ring, you wasn't saying nothing then. And now you starting to feel some type of way because this whole thing is coming out. But Jordan got the best out of everybody. Nobody can deny that. And he would put whatever in his head he had to put in his head to score 60 a night on somebody. So,
and that's why Cedric and I had a discussion on our previous recordings about, was Jordan actually a bully, or do I accept the way he had to get his teammates to get up?
Yeah.
Hey, whatever it took, this guy lived and breathed basketball and winning. And if you're going to play with him, you got to be at the best that you can be, and he's going to do whatever he has to do to get you there. I certainly can see that. I can understand that. As hard as it may be on some of these guys, step your game up. Will Perdue said it best to me. Will Perdue was in the interview. He was like, man, the guy was a jerk. Yep, he was a jerk. Was he an asshole? Yeah, he was an asshole. But at the end of the day, and when I look back at this, he was the best teammate I ever had. Because he brought out the best in you. And I remember Will Perdue, for the first couple of years in Chicago, was nothing. He was just a lanky white boy who really couldn't do nothing. He had bad hands. But as the years went on and we became champions, he wasn't no dominant player or anything like that, but he definitely was better than what he was the prior years. He learned how to control the ball and grab it. He learned how to take a fake and then go up and dunk the ball with aggressiveness. He was just a much better player, and you have to pay attention to him. Like, he didn't make a difference in that team as far as winning, but when he was out there and he got his little minutes, he did the best he could do, and it was very good. So, yeah, Jordan made all these guys, but Scottie Pippen, you know, he came to that team. He was a bench player, but Jordan helped him rise to his potential, bring out the best in him.
Yeah, and I think Scott Burrell was the one that said it best. Is that Jordan didn't know that we couldn't get to his level, but he tried his hardest to get us there, and that's what propelled him to win the championships. And you gotta hats off to Phil too. You know, the Phil backstory I thought was really good too.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to
agree.
Like, I think this documentary probably the best. Yeah, as far as basketball, like Hoop Dreams, that used to be my movie in high school. But this is probably by far the best basketball documentary I've seen. My only thing is, like, I wish they would have covered more of the actual Bulls as a whole. Than it was like more of like a Michael Jordan documentary with like this player sprinkled in here and there. I wish they would have focused on like the team. Like, I wish they would have showed like more of the practices, what went on during the practices, and then how they hung out. Because I listened to this Dennis Rodman interview. Like, before this documentary, I thought Pippen and Jordan was like this, but according to Rodman, like, once they left the stadium, like, they didn't talk on the phone, they didn't hang out together. Like, I thought they was the way they played. I thought they this. So I definitely thought the documentary was great, but I just wish they would have showed more of the actual Bulls, like the whole team and how they practice and all of that. You know, they showed snippets of Jordan going in on Scott Burrell. Like, whew, I couldn't do it. Like, me and MJ would have had to throw some hands, bro. Like, he can't call me no hoe, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, MJ. We got to throw some hands, bro. But I thought the documentary.
But he did, Mike.
What'd you say?
Yeah, Mike even said he was trying to get Scott to fight him, just to bring some evenness out of, not evenness, but some aggressiveness, some anger. And he said Scott was just too much of a nice guy. He wouldn't fight him. Mike was just trying to, you know, juice him up, get him anger, make him play with aggression, make him play hard and tough, you know, and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So that's why Jordan rolled that man so hard, man.
Basically, he was trying to bring the dog out. He was trying to bring the dog out of all of these guys. And I think Steve Kerr stepped up to Jordan and punched him in the chest. And then from there on, you can see how their relationship kind of went to greatness together, even when you get to the finals. Yeah. But Cedric, man, I agree with you, because it was almost like it was Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, but they just sprinkled in interviews with everybody.
Right.
I would have loved to see something with them, like all together, maybe like sitting on a bleacher or something like that. Like, hey, you know, we're all together. This is one last time thing. Do a video shoot or something like that. But I liked, even though it was sprinkles, it was good to see BJ Armstrong. He was one of my favorite players. He was a short guy. I was a short guy. So, you know, BJ was one of my favorite players. But yeah, they didn't really dive too deep into it as a team. And you could have called it Michael Jordan's Last Dance. That's what you could have called it, because that's kind of what it really ended up being.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think they misled everyone by calling it the Chicago Bulls Last Dance when it was basically about Jordan and some, they interviewed and did some background on some of the bigger guys like Rodman and Scotty and Phil, but those other guys really, and Steve got a little, history on him put out there, but that was it. It's pretty much about Jordan.
Yeah. I wish they would have like had mics and video like during the actual Bulls games that season. Like I wish they, how they mic everybody up. I wish we could have got the audio. They probably couldn't play it on the air, but
probably not.
Audio and video of the actual games, like during timeouts and when they was on the bench. Like I think that would have been good.
Yeah.
But I have to say, man, ESPN was letting it fly. Like they was saying all types of cuss words. Like it didn't even matter. I was surprised the ESPN was okay with that.
They kept it raw.
They
kept it raw. Let it be 100.
Yeah,
that's
they
what's
wasn't playing
up.
with it.
Yeah.
That's another reason made it so great, because they kept it 100. They didn't edit none of that out. Everything that was said was aired.
Yeah.
Good shit.
I know Jordan was that raw. You know what I mean? Like Jordan just
let
everything fly.
I'm Chicago. I grew up around his whole career. I saw all his games, all the interviews. Never once did we ever hear him cuss. So when we saw this docuseries and he was like calling bitches and hoes, and I was like, what? This isn't Jordan. This isn't the Jordan we know all these years. And I'm telling you, I've seen everything about him. His whole career in Chicago. Every game we there. We saw everything, interviews, everything outside. Not once did we hear him curse, man. And he was in practice. I was tripping on that. So that was funny to me, man.
Yeah, he was politically correct. Everything that I've ever seen from him. And in this interview, he was like, "Yeah, that's BS from Isaiah. Whatever you got to say, I ain't gonna believe it." I was like, "Man, like they need to throw hands. They need to have a celebrity, an NBA celebrity boxing. Them two just need to get in the ring, just duke it out, and whoever wins, y'all can just
facts.
Yeah, man, come on.
Yeah,
y'all too old.
My money on Zeke, bro.
Zeke tried to coach, choke out the coach that one time. So Zeke don't play, man.
His old coach at that.
It's like coach. He just blanked out. Like I'm choking somebody, whoever here.
Oh man! First neck I can get my hands around, boy.
Right, exactly. I don't care who it is. If it's a kid, you might get choked out.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, for Freewell, bro. Zeke started off the.
Hey, it's the first time we had a Speedwell reference in there.
Man.
Oh man.
Yeah. All right, man.